This is a synastry reading for Tyler and Haley. I am going to look at some of the points that we would consider for compatibility and talk about some strengths and potential challenges that the chart shows. This is the combined chart of these two individuals, and it tells us a lot about the nature of the relationship and how each other's energy influences the other person and vice versa. I do not, however, say if a relationship is meant to be. Of course, it is only one tool that is present here. There are many things to consider in a relationship. Astrology is just one of the things. And your own personal moral compass and your experiences with each other is what you should lean into for that type of situation. This is just to look at strengths and challenges that we see and take what resonates and leave what does not. So I'd like to start with looking at each other's big three. The big three is when we look at someone's ascendant, their sun, and their moon, and then do the same in the other person, because these are going to be the three biggest factors in each other's consciousness and how we perceive new situations, people's, in our new situations, potential relationships. And it's going to be the most of the energy that we feel off of our partners. Starting with the ascendant, that is the or rising sign. That is how we first present ourselves to another person, and then it's also how we perceive other people through that lens of consciousness. That's how we interpret new information. So it's very important on making a first impression and on feeling initially comfortable vibes or a disconnect. So we start with Tyler, and he has a Virgo rising. So right out the gate, I see that Tyler's rising sign in Virgo is going to be really complementary to Haley's sun sign in Virgo. So we have these two wheels here. The chart itself is going to use Tyler's ascendant as the marker of the first house. So it's the Virgo symbol here that you also see in Haley's sun sign. So Haley's main ego, the main source of her conscious energy, is filtered through the same lens as Tyler's ability to perceive and present himself in new situations. So that's going to give them both this feeling of common ground between them when initially meeting and put them in the same like-mindedness. So having this Virgo energy makes them very analytical. They're probably likely to be very observant of what's going on around them. Sometimes it gives them a really quick wit if something's in their observation that is unusual or strange. They're probably going to be people that pick up on it quickly. They might even be so witty as to make like a sarcastic or side comment about something going on. They're usually so observant that they're able to even like be really good at impressions and really able to mock situations because of how well they quickly understand their environment. They can turn around and even make fun of it. It's just to give an example of the quick wit of the Virgo mind. While everyone else in the room is trying to understand what's going on, Virgo people have usually already understood everything and they're already on the next level of making a joke about it, or they're ready to go because it's not in the right organized fashion that they would prefer. As Virgo is a very meticulous sign, they like things to be in order. They want to be able to anticipate what's going to happen. Sometimes they'll easily get anxious, nervous, digestive distress because the vibes can be off, and they're going to notice that, and it'll make them actually physically uncomfortable in some way. Virgo rising people sometimes have like a nervous trait about them, that maybe they're someone that clicks a pen a lot, or they fidget something. Sometimes they're nail biters. They can have this like nervous energy because they're just very aware of everything. So there is a lot of not being able to relax because they're just in this level of awareness. This is the sign that Mercury rules. Mercury is our messenger, our mental energy, the communicator, and the one that is really always on the go. Um, it's the sign of getting things done. So a Virgo rising person might have a long to-do list and they feel like time is money. They want to get as much as accomplished as they can. They like to feel useful. They like to feel like they're doing some type of service for someone else. They can be very self-sacrificing. They like to feel that they are here in whatever new environment, as it's a rising sign, whatever their new role is in this situation, they want it to be one of service. They're kind of looking to see who needs help with what causes this, how can I make this better? Is something chaotic? They can find themselves in positions of being in like chaos environments because it's the Virgo rising person who brings order to situations. So they might really enjoy stability and routine, some type of hierarchy of what is going on here, and then they bring that orderliness into new situations. And it's in like a practical way. They provide some kind of service that is needed to help bring organization to wherever they are. And this could be something that the Virgo sun person, Haley, notices right away about this Virgo rising person and vice versa. And it really brings them together in this way that they want the same things in their environments and they want that from people that they meet, and they want to feel that they're both trying to do something to improve the situations they are in. So they might do very well to feel out this. They might be the people that are a little bit quiet at first, but they wind up getting in conversation or being part of the efforts to make things better. I say quiet at first, not necessarily shy, but just in an observing kind of way. And then we move on to the sun sign for Tyler in Leo. And that's going to bring this energy of a really like enthusiasm and passion to whatever it is he's doing. So now we've gone from the more observant person at first to a very like driven and purposeful person in his most attached ego state. He's going to feel like he feels like he has a purpose that he needs to share with others. So this is somebody, the sun sign in Leo is a very comfortable place. That is the natural ruler of Leo. So people who have the sun sign, they say they tend to like draw people in. They have like their own like gravity, like the sun itself has. We all orbit around the sun. They tend to have people who kind of seem to orbit around them. They kind of demand this attention. And it doesn't even have to be that they're super self-centered. It's just that they're usually in the center of whatever's going on. So people need to check in with them, or people are following orders from them, or people are just want to be near them because they shine really bright whenever they're doing what makes them feel fulfilled. So it's this warm energy that is Tyler's sun that is actually in conjunction, which means that they're in close relationship to Haley's sun, even though Haley's sun is in Virgo, like we just talked about. In this overlying bi-wheel, they actually are really close together. And it looks like it's just the 3-degree orb here. So it's just, even though they're different signs, they both really brighten each other. So when you have two suns, it's kind of like my shine brings out your shine. And when they are together, they both kind of feel like their identities can even almost merge. Our suns are our egos, are how we feel our identity. And in these two ways, the same house, it's the 12th house, spiritual growth, and the house of like the ego undoing. Between these two together, it's like the own one person's ego is kind of becoming undone, and to help each other be in this unity, this like collective energy instead of just one and one. It's like they kind of mold together. It's um it's an interesting energy for Tyler since he has the Leo sun, which is usually about being in the center stage himself, somehow letting his ego really shine. But in this relationship, it looks like now we're kind of undoing that it's all about me idea, and we're really taking on this partnership of together where we're actually bigger and we're more, and it's like we can get more accomplished here for the greater good of other causes too. 12th house can be like spiritual awakenings and like karmic work and like collective raising the collective vibrations. So it's like together you two can even surpass the ego. So that's really a strength. I think some people would say it would be a challenge too in the 12th house because the ego doesn't really love being in a house of the inaccessible ego. But I like to see it more as it's beyond the ego. We're moving past the ego into this union. So I guess the challenge here, if there was to be one, would be not losing your identity completely in the other person. But I think it being a Leo sun for Tyler, I don't think that's so much going to happen. I think this would be more for Haley to say that to her, since a Virgo sun sometimes it is really interested in being the supportive character in someone else's story because they have this great vision of how this person can really be their best self. And when it's your partner, wow, like great, what a fun challenge because now you can see this person grow and be their best self. And Virgos love that. That's what they want to do. They want to have a project and they want to be involved in helping something be its best. So a Virgo 12th house conjunction relationship, I would tell Virgo person, just make sure that you are not completely self-sacrificing, that you're still yourself too. And that while your Leo sun person is improving in life and really growing into this generous person who has deep passions for their causes and their ability to share generosity towards others and be a great leader, that you also have your own strengths and you provide a service because of your own unique skill set that is still separate from him. So we're great together, but let's not lose who we each are too. So now we'll move on to the moon sign. And the this is interesting to me because this does not always happen, but you also have conjunct moons. So in your emotional security, that's what our moon is. The moon is identified with mother. It's the first person we ever felt really close to. That's usually a mother. Doesn't always have to be, but it's someone that you felt so secure with that's what you're always looking for, to touch back to feel secure in yourself and your emotions again. So when you have these moons conjunct, that means they're right together in the chart. That means you both have the same nature. When you met each other, you probably felt comfortable because you felt safe. You felt like there's this understanding between the two of you. Maybe you didn't really have to take a lot of breaks from each other because your reprieve was the same, and you both could relax and recharge in each other's company as well as have fun and energize each other. You can also relax and restore being near each other. And that's both conjunction and it's the same sign, and it's in the house of friendships and goals. So maybe you were friends before lovers. Maybe you just have a really deep friendship base, but you feel secure and safe with each other and you feel like you're someone that each other can trust. In the sign of Leo, you both have the same need to reciprocate the appreciation for each other. So a Leo moon needs to know that they are loved and they need to be able to express their love for someone else too. They don't want to hold back feelings. They don't want to feel like ashamed of how intense they can care for someone. They want to be appreciated for how much they can love someone. And like that's a good thing, like a joyful experience. They don't want to be, oh, you're too emotional. So you both understand that without having to even talk about it, and you both recharge off of being affectionate to each other. And that's really a huge strength. And look now, I skipped Haley's ascendant because I wanted to bring it in here. Now, Haley's ascendant being in Leo, so her rising sign, how she first views the world and receives others, and her first impression onto others is also the same Leo energy that is Tyler's sun and moon and her moon. So she has this connection between how she first presents herself and what she really needs to feel secure deep within. So it is this nature, her first instinct is going to match her emotional needs. So before a lot of the thought process of the ego gets involved to stop her, make her more cautious, her first reactions are going to be very in line with how Tyler lives his life, also in Leo. So I think that that is a very huge strength. All the possibilities of what each other's big three could be, and you both only have two, and they're the same two that the other person has. So, I mean, it's almost like you're so alike that it's like, well, let's see, like, where is there other chemistry? Does that dull the chemistry because you're so similar? Do we need, in synastry, sometimes we look for opposite energy to kind of get that magnetic attraction. But in this, you will see that there is more to it. So really, these big threes are just strengths for building friendship and understanding each other's needs right off the bat. The similarity, the more you have in common in those three, is really where the strength is. The compatibility comes from an understanding nature. And I think that you definitely have that. So now let's move on here. The attraction part is where we look at Venuses and Mars. So we look at Haley and we see her Venus here is pretty close to her sun, and it's also in the sign of Virgo. So this gives more of that Virgo energy. She has a few things in Virgo, and it makes me think that although they're very similar people, Haley might be a little bit more in her head. She might be a little bit more cautious. She might want to think things through, have like a pro and con list, really, be methodical in decisions that she makes, and not be too like flamboyant when it comes to love, as far as being in like the dating world and really like letting her heart just run away. She kind of always keeps her head about her. So in this situation, the Virgo energy is going to be one that can come off sometimes a little bit like standoffish, but it's something that it's not standoffish. It's just very much that it's like a protective energy. I don't want to put myself completely out there and then be shut down and not appreciated and then feel unworthy. And it's interesting because sometimes Leo feels that way too. Leo is a little bit different. They have a gift to share and they want people to see it and appreciate. But Virgo, it's they they want to be part of something greater than themselves. So to be turned away makes them feel this like they're not useful, and like the usefulness helps bring the self-esteem. So Leo has this pride that they need to, you know, they need to be praised. That's part of it. They need to build their confidence. And Virgo needs to feel useful. So they both are about a partnership in a way that they need the feedback, but Leo can do so in a more confident approach. And Virgo, I feel like, holds back a little bit more because they're putting so much vulnerability into their situations, and they don't love that because they like to be considered like a smart person, and they don't want to make the wrong decisions, so sometimes they just won't put themselves out there if they think that they're going to be turned away and be left looking like a fool. They just can't risk that. Whereas Tyler, we look at his Mars, and he he has the energy of this Cancer, which is a water sign, which is emotions, but it's also a safety sign. So when he's in love, he also is not as aggressive as his Leo self. He's a little bit more sensitive, and he's also cautious. He doesn't want to feel like he he's not going to be secure. He needs a feeling of emotional security. He needs to know that when he's being honest about his feelings, that he's safe to do that, and that he's not going to be just left cold and unloved. He needs to feel lovable. So I think in this case, that they're both so cautious and careful about that, they take their time a little bit more. And, now that I see the moons in that friendship house, I wonder if they were friends first, because this isn't the rush right into things kind of relationship. This is the, you know, does she really care about me? Should I or shouldn't I tell her how I really feel? Is he going to take this seriously? And in that trepidation to do things, you really see that this gentle nature between the two of them and this deep sensitivity that they both have. And I think that's a strength here. And it's also an attraction because the way these two energies are, it's an agreeable energy. The earth of the Virgo and the water of the Cancer, they nourish each other. And it's not the same energy, so it's not a stale energy, it's a life-giving energy. It keeps this relationship nourished and growing and flowing, and that's a huge strength here. So let's talk to then about the nodes. So in astrology, synastry, we look at the nodes of a chart to see like past life relationships. You don't have to believe that. It's just to show the depth of this connection. And I think it could be just destiny of this life. That's all that you have to read into that. So we look at Tyler's north node is conjunct Haley's Venus. So it looks like headphones here. And that is like the signature of a love connection. So it's like the kind of love connection that if you two weren't meant to be together romantically, then we would say, like, get away from each other, because you can't help it in these situations here. When the sign of destiny is touching someone's love sign, it's like Cupid's arrow, basically. It's like, you're not going to be friends. So this is a love connection, and you need to make sure that you both understand that, because if someone's already spoken for, then you need to get away because that is very much the tattoo of a relationship, a lover's relationship. So when I saw that, and it's like a perfect conjunction, I said, oh my goodness, I don't think I've seen one of those before, like exactly 0 degrees, a full mark. So I would say that this relationship was just very much destined. You were destined to cross paths with each other. And then as far as longevity goes, I see some Saturn interplays here, and it looks like there is, what is it, Haley's Saturn on Tyler's Jupiter. So that's just a sign of like outer planets. That's not really part of the personality. It's like the universe moving things to help us achieve what we need to achieve. So when they're together, it just shows that Tyler's Jupiter is really helping Haley feel like more adventurous and lively. She feels more like joyful around when she's with him, like she wants to take chances more. And he really helps pull out of her like her more extroverted self. And he makes her not really, she has more trust that like things are gonna be the way they're supposed to be. And in return, her Saturn helps him feel grounded, that like she's not going anywhere and he's free to like he's safe to have his emotions and feelings and she can handle that, and she's not going to be one to be like a fair weathered friend. She's like in it. Saturn's our long-term commitment planet. It doesn't want to fling. So he knows from her that he has loyalty and trust, and he knows that when she's like decided that this is something that's important to her, he can trust that she means it, and he kind of feels safe. He feels like, okay, like this could be a very much a long-term thing. So if that's something that you both want, then that is a very stable, patient planet that is saying that's what is going on here. There's like a balance of energies here between someone bringing in the adventure and someone bringing in the stability, and each other need that in their lives. So it's a very nice opposite attract long-term stability situation. And then you also just have a couple nice things. Your nodes then trine each other. So beyond the mark here of the Cupid's arrow, you have these little upside down headphones, and then the headphones here, they're all trining each other, which is just a sign of agreeableness. They like they understand where each other have been, and they look forward to growing together into the future. There is an understandable about each other's past, and there's a holding hands into the future together. That's a sign of like mutual respect. It's a sign of trust, and it's a sign of continued growth. So it kind of relieves the challenge of being stale or getting bored. It's like a freshness. It's a no, like if we're in this together and we move forward together, we're always going to help each other get through what we need to for personal growth. And there's always going to be something to keep this spark going. And then there's just so many good things, but I think I wanted to talk about the Mars situations too, because I saw something. Let me see a little note here about your Mars. The Mars, I feel like the North Node squares the Mars here, and that's a sign of, so in synastry, sometimes square and oppositions in a regular reading would be like a challenge, but in a synastry reading, it just means that they're actually talking to each other, and you want that. You want there to be like degrees of connection, and Mars is our planet of passion and desire. So I always look there like, okay, you guys had some great things with the Venus and the North Node. Saturn's there for long term, but like what's Mars doing? That's like our passion. So you have a good North Node to Mars square, and it looks like the Mars here wants to like keep things active and like energetic, and I feel like that must be true anyway with all this Leo energy. It's like a playful energy, but it also needs to be physically moving. It needs competition, like friendly competition. It needs to feel like there's some type of thing to be conquered still. So if you're not already engaged in like some type of like couples pickleball matches or something, like something to keep you guys like number one against the world, and it's like this positive energy but like passionate and competitive. It's really gonna bring this thing even more passionate to you. And I think I'll stop there. I think that's good for now for time. I could always go on, but I felt like most of it was really strength. Really, the only challenge I saw was just to maintain personal identities through everything. But it seems very stable, committed, loving, and nurturing. So I don't see a lot of challenges here. I think that this is really a sign of destiny at work. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything else. And thanks so much.